So then I says to the guy, Don, I says, we're on.
Oh, snap.
Sorry about that. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and I hope you're having a great night. Welcome to the show. This is our Saturday evening show, and we got 2 full hours of paranormal fun ahead, or what we like to feel is fun, or we'll find out how fun it is after the 2 hours. We're not fortune tellers here, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to fill the mics with noise, and hopefully you guys enjoy it all the same. But welcome, everybody, and I hope you guys are having a great night. I'm not alone here. I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard.
Hi, once again. Oh.
Sorry.
He's mutinied. He's mutinied me.
It's a mutiny up in here. Sorry, I got something in my eye. But we've been kind of battling connection issues.
Yes.
Suddenly a thunderstorm blew up, like literally.
Blew up.
It was just hailing here about 5 minutes ago. And so I guess it's the time. But, I think I love thunderstorms personally. And I certainly don't mind that it's raining here. We've needed it. It's gotten kind of dry. So I'm good with it. But if anything happens, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't know, we live up in the north tip of Idaho, and where the internet is just repurposed telegraph lines. So
pretty much.
We're not sure how it's all going to hold up, but hopefully it's good. Hopefully we'll be with you for the duration. If not, then have a great weekend.
And good night.
And thank you very much. Good night. But we'll see how it all works. Hello to you, Weird Desk US. Good to see you. Good to see everybody in the TFR chat room as well. We've got a bunch of people in there. Lucky's in there. Shih Tzu Boogaloo 2. TFR Wookie, Bill 13, Highlander Naysay, or Hilarious Naysay. You're not a Highlander, but you're hilarious. Donkey Hottie's in there. Hi, Donkey Hottie. And I did see your message last night. I'm sorry I didn't notice it until later, but yes, thank you. I hope you enjoyed last night's show. Don's in here. King Sweet 111 is in here, and Drone Free Zones up in here. So thanks, guys, for being here and being a part of the show. We're getting a bunch of people into the YouTube done.
I got a pretty good list here.
Okay.
Let's start off with Mr. Carey from Bigfoot Odyssey.
Welcome.
Brown Dwarf, how you doing? Cameron F, Chris Guy, Claudia, Donnie C, Gemini. Hi, Gemini. I am Pam. There's Pam. Josh Jacobs, very nice to see you. Mary Brim, Nelly, Noli 420. Paranormal Portal, Renee Cruz, Rivers, Spaces Between, that's Ms. Paisley, and the Weird Desk US. And there you have them, and more are coming in every now and then, so don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe.
Ooh, that was almost like you rehearsed that. That was pretty slick.
Sometimes I'm actually pretty good.
I know. It's like you're like a professional announcer up in here. Do you start to raise the bar, or what's going on?
I'm a partial professional. Partially
Partially
professional.
professional.
There goes the P words again.
Yeah.
Count them off.
Yeah. We'll see what words end up shaping tonight's show. But
Shaping the show.
Hope you guys are doing great. We got another listener email that just came in not too long ago, and this one also includes pictures. Now, this is a really cool story. And I read it. I don't normally read a whole lot of things before the show, which is probably really not a good idea. But I don't know. I kind of like when I read stories with you guys, like we're all hearing it for the first time. But
when the family gets together.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like we're pulling open the newspaper together and just seeing what's going on. But no, I checked this out ahead of time, and I was like, wow, this is a really cool story. This is really bizarre, but in a really cool way, I think. So. Let me just get into this story, if you guys don't mind. Anything else that you had right on the top end, Don? Are you good?
Yeah, there was something, but I forgot it because I got interested in you were going. I'm like, let's do it.
Well, first of all, let me say, ladies and gentlemen, the phone lines of the portal are always open. You can call in by calling 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. Excuse me. And sorry about that. Drinking carbonated beverages before the shows is probably not conducive. But we're happy to take your calls. We love hearing from you guys if you got a paranormal event of your very own. And we've been having some really cool call-ins lately, you guys.
God, that Chad call last week was awesome.
Well, yeah, Lee called in last night, and
dang it.
I think it was Dominic called in before that.
Wow.
If I'm getting that name right, and I'm sorry, I have a dyslexia for names, so it takes me a while to grab onto a name. But yeah, I mean, we've had some really cool call-ins. But if you got something you'd like to share as well, please feel free to call in. Otherwise, you too can email the show and share your stories with us. And you can do that by emailing paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. And I'm seeing a new name in the chat room. It's Bumfluff Paranormal. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Nacy, I see he made the switched over to YouTube as well. So
is he doing the duality thing?
he's double dipping. So
hi, Jamie.
Oh, hey, Jamie. Good to see you. And it's great to see all of you guys. Thank you so much for coming in. Let me get to this email though. I think it's really cool. Again, this is the kind of email I've not heard. I can't say I've ever heard a story quite like this, and it's really unique and cool. So let me get to this. And this is coming from Beth, one of our listeners, Beth Fierce. And she says, one of my part-time jobs is caring for an 88-year-old man who lives kind of in the middle of nowhere with woods all around his house. His deceased wife's family has owned this land for way over 100 years. The fields were once used to grow food and raise animals, but now it just gets cut down a couple times a year by the neighbor, Glenn, who bales it up for his animals. Last March, I drove down the lane to his house, and I could see lumps of white in the back field. I love photographing mushrooms, so I went back there to take some pictures of these huge mushrooms using my cell phone. The first large white thing I got to was not a mushroom, but it was a rock. I looked out over the field, and there were hundreds of quartz rocks scattered in a circular pattern across the field, which was a bit smaller than a football field. And there are photos. I will show you guys those afterwards for those of you that are watching on YouTube. And I'll try to explain the pictures to those of you who aren't able to see. But it says, I've been back here before, and I've never seen any rocks there. I went into the house and told Mr. B about the rocks, and he said as far as he knew, there were never any rocks in the backfield. I texted his 3 children and sent photos, and none of them had ever seen rocks like that on the property. I was getting excited now. What a find. I called Glenn, who's the neighbor, just to make certain he hadn't just overlooked these large rocks, and he had no idea what I was talking about. He said he's mowed that field for years and never saw or ran over any rocks like I was describing. I know what I saw. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Jim or Barb Willis. They've written many books together, and my favorite one is called Supernatural Gods, Spiritual Mysteries, Psychic Experiences, and Scientific Truths. Jim is a former minister who started asking questions which led him on a lifelong journey to discovery of the paranormal. He's been a guest on the Earth the Ancients podcast, and luckily for us, Jim and Barb live a couple miles away and have spoken at our local library. My second part-time job is there, so I called them, and they could not wait to come over and see the rocks. The following Saturday, I met them at Mr. B's house, and all four of us walked out to the field, and Jim pulled out his divining rod, and Barb had her gemstone, which is attracted to energy in the earth. They walked the entire field, and I watched him barely hold his wand, and that thing moved. I've never seen anything like that in person. He even let me hold it, and it moved for me too. If it wasn't just about the coolest thing I'd ever had happen to me, I probably would have been freaking out. Jim thought that since we had recently had so much rain, the rocks had simply moved to the top of the ground, but why now? In all these years, this has never happened before, and Jim said where the energy field was the strongest was most likely where all the rocks had originally been in one pile as a sort of marker for directions. He walked the line of energy that led backwards towards the tree line on the side of the house. He said there was most definitely a village of Indians or some other group of people who had lived here and passed this way often enough to erect a large pile of rock. And he also found 2 rocks in the shape of tools, and he knew exactly what they were used for. Well, I washed them off, and they were on the mantle of Mr. B's house on display. As to how the rocks were all tossed in the circular pattern, he couldn't answer that, but he and Barb were very excited about this find. So I know it was a big deal. I just hate how no one else was interested or as concerned as we were. It's not often that a person's property is covered in rocks like this. So how do you think they got spread around the field in a circular pattern, and why? What does it mean? Why has no one ever seen them before in all the years people have lived here, hunted here, and mowed that field right over them? The rocks are once again buried in the ground, and we had more rain, and I guess they got pushed back up onto the earth. I still whisper hello to the rocks when I pull into the driveway facing the field. You never know who might be listening. That is really a cool story. And again, I'm going to get these pictures queued up, and I will show you all what it was that she had experienced. It's just really cool. Let's see, the rocks one. Did you
hear that?
Yeah, thunder. Yeah.
Just before we went live, it shook the house.
It did.
That was crazy.
Yep. It's not really intense, but it's a lot of rain. That's good though. The ground's been so dry.
Well, and I need water in my pond because that's where I get my water from for the house. So yeah, need it.
So you can go down and take a dip with some soap. All right. So here is the images. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're only listening to us auditorily, the first picture is a picture of a small field with a tree line in the background, and all across this field are these large rocks. They're just scattered about, and they are really good size. I don't know how they just suddenly appeared due to a rain. And here's the problem with that I have is that, this ground obviously has grass growing in it. So it's not just a matter of the rocks washing up or washing down. There's a whole root system that should be on top of them.
Right.
And they shouldn't be able to just pop up, especially not in this much of a spread. And so that's what I find most interesting, if indeed this is exactly what happened. And I believe her. I mean, I don't believe she would be, going all this trouble to, send us a silly story.
Well, so I wonder if it rained rocks because it was after was it after a storm or just a rain?
She just said they had gotten a lot of rain, but the field was cut, and obviously it is cut by this picture. There's all this grass is cut very low, but there'd still be a intricate root system on top of every one of these rocks if they were in the soil. So I'm sorry, I'm not buying that they just popped up. Now I don't doubt what she's saying, that they did just pop up. But I'm not buying that they just pushed up from the soil. That to me doesn't make any sense.
Wow, that's a big one.
That is a big rock. And here's a picture of her hand on one of the rocks. And for those of you listening, it really looks about the size of a softball, if not bigger. Yeah, big. By half again as big. So it's like 1.5 softballs, and it's sitting right on top. So I mean, as you look at this picture, you can see all of the grass and stuff, and you know that's got to have a complex root layer right below that.
Well, yeah, I mean the think of sod. When you roll out sod,
Right.
it's a thick mat.
Right.
And so yeah, that's the root structure of at least the grass.
Right.
And you know that you can roll sod out and move it around. It's pretty tough in that sense.
Yeah, and it's not like a big rock would just suddenly push its way in whole
Without leaving a
right.
hole, yeah.
Well, even yeah, I mean, I don't think it could, but if it did, it would certainly leave. I mean, it would have to be like jettisoned out of the earth to get through through that root system somehow.
Crazy.
But even then, you would see these little craters all over the
Yeah.
place, I would think.
Yep.
So there again, there's one that does look like a scraping tool.
Yeah.
In her hand or in his hand. I'm not sure whose hand we're looking at here, but it's a small wedge-shaped kind of rock, and it's white in color. It does look like quartz.
And it does look like one side was chipped off.
Yeah, it does. It looks like it was chipped away around the edge, right around here, if you can see my mouse, ladies and gentlemen, to make that edge for some purpose or another. And I imagine this is one of the tools she might have been talking about,
Right.
or possibly another, but it is definitely been worked on that edge for some reason.
Yeah.
So the next one, of course, is another picture of the gentleman out in the field, and you can see these rocks. I just don't buy that they pumped all the way through all of that root level, and suddenly are just sitting unencumbered on top of the cut grass. To me, that just doesn't make sense. Very, very cool pictures.
Did she say how long ago this happened?
I don't recall, but let me
Beth, how long ago did that happen?
let me get back to the email here and just re-look at it again. It doesn't really give us a time frame. No, I don't see any reference to time.
She said it was March, so a few months ago.
Okay, so a few months ago. I don't know, Beth. I think that's a fantastic thing. I don't know what would have caused it. I don't know how they would have gotten there. And even if there was a pile of rocks, you would have seen, or somebody would have seen a pile of rocks that were now scattered. So I don't understand. Something pretty impressive seems to have happened there. I don't know. It's a really weird situation. But I'm not implying that that it's in any way negative. It's just a really profound event of some kind. Very cool. I'm truly impressed. I think that's pretty powerful. Where did they come from? How did they get scattered around? Again, I don't buy the whole they were underneath the earth and then the rain pushed them up, because I had an old Victorian house, and I put a hedge around this old Victorian house, and I had to dig up all of the grass in this line around the edge of the property. And I'm here to tell you that root system in that old grass that had been there for generations was about 6 inches thick.
I can believe that.
And I had to use a shovel, and man, I was busting my tail. And I couldn't have pushed anything from under the earth through that and get it to rest just like it was lobbed onto the ground.
Right.
I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. That explanation doesn't add up to me, but I know the person's just, trying to come up with something, but this is one of those really weird enigmas, and I don't know what to tell you, but I think it's incredibly profound, and I'm really honored that you shared it with us here. So thank you so much.
So somebody asked, how often does the gentleman mow? Well, I would imagine only once or twice a season, because he's using it for hay.
Right.
So, but I mean, it's something he's done for years. So he would know, from years past, if those rocks were there, or if there was a pile of rocks, as you said, on the side of the field or something like that. So yeah, Beth says it wasn't there.
Yep.
That's all there is to it.
Yep. So very
Wow,
cool.
that's
Thank you
cool.
so much for sharing that. That is so profound. I'm truly honored. Keep us posted if anything else comes
Yes.
up from that area. I'd love to hear any kind of follow up that you might have.
Now, was there any shape or form to the rocks? Were they laid out in a
She
pattern?
said it looked like a circular pattern.
Circular pattern, like concentric circles, or like
Again,
a spiral?
You'd have to ask her. It wasn't spelled out in the
she
email.
can hear me.
Yep, she can. And yeah, let us know in the chat if you would. Those are great questions. I just don't know. Very, very cool though. I love that kind of stuff. And again, you guys You guys really create this show.
Yeah.
I mean, you really do. How can I go wrong with a story like that? It's like, well, all I got to do is sit here and read it.
Read it and show a few pictures, and we've taken up the first, 20 minutes of the show.
Yeah, well,
awesome.
We have actually. We only got 7 minutes until the break. Can you believe it?
That's awesome.
Yes, concentric, she says, loud and clear.
Wow.
Awesome. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have no explanation for that. That's really bizarre. And most of the rocks, the shapes were varying from anywhere from in the palm of your hand to these, little mini boulders. They were about the size, maybe less than a basketball, but more than a softball, somewhere in between there. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, man, is it dumping out there?
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Wow. Goodness. It's like a river coming off the roof.
Wow.
And, again, ladies and gentlemen, if we disconnect for some reason, I am sorry, but
yeah,
we can only do so much.
Yeah, Duke says he had a powerful hailstorm come through there about a half an hour ago. Yeah. It's moving quick. If it's moving west, it's moving quick because we're getting it now.
Now, here's the humorous part. There's a festival going on in Dukestown.
Oh, yeah.
And the hail moved through there. And right. There's a festival going on here, too.
Yep, and there's thousands of people that just flooded the town. And now they're getting flooded out in an open-air concert.
Enjoy your concert.
Enjoy that.
No, they should have just stayed home and watched the portal, I'm thinking.
Right.
That would have been the better play, but very cool.
Stayed home and watched
Just stay home and watch the show.
Yeah, sure.
I like that email, Don.
That was awesome. Thank you, Beth. That was very, very awesome.
I'm pumped up about that. I'm pumped up with how much you guys are contributing. And it's just so cool. Wow. Excellent stuff. So... anything strange and wonderful going on in your paranormal world, Don?
Things are all strange. It's funny that, somebody asked me today because we know Paisley Wild and talk about paranormal. So she told me that someone asked if I felt a pull to the Norse mythologies and the Norse gods and things like that. And then we get this thunderstorm that is just shaking the house as it goes over. Right. Isn't that just crazy?
That is.
It's like, wow, okay, well...
How do you feel about it now?
I don't know. Does me buying a drinking horn last night count?
Yeah, Don, you're either a dwarf or a Viking. I'm not sure which one, but I think dwarves use drinking horns too.
Yeah,
so.
I think so.
Don is actually about the same height as I am, so he's not short and stocky, but he does look like a dwarf. He looks like he could crawl out of Middle Earth anytime.
Thanks, yeah. And the females just pop out of the ground.
There you have it, just like taters.
Oh yeah, it's kind of crazy. But hey,
Taurus.
remember back in February, I read that story about the 77-year-old teacher that was mauled to death by some unknown canid.
Yeah, can you talk more into your mic?
Oh, am I?
It's really kind of faint.
There is that better?
Much better.
All right. So anyhow, let me hit this one real quick, and then I'll tell the rest of it on the other side of the of the break. But it says on Friday, paramedics who responded to a 911 call for an animal attack found Brenda Hamilton, 77, suffering from serious injuries along the road in Beaufort County Monday. Beaufort County Sheriff's Office said in a statement that she had died. Officials originally said DNA tests eliminated any wild animals indigenous to the area. Later, they said the test results did find canid DNA at the scene that could be a match to anything from a wolf to a coyote to a domestic dog. So they went around the neighborhoods and swabbed dogs and took DNA samples and things like that. And they still, at this time, this is where they left it. Well, there's an update that came out just a couple days ago. But, I've got, I'm on some Facebook, Dogman Facebook pages and stuff like that. And there was a debate about it. And people are like, oh, it could have been a red wolf and this, that, and the other. They're indigenous to that area and blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, great. That may be true. But she lives in a town. So, but, and wolves avoid, highly populated areas. You know, they just do.
Yeah, because they end up on endangered species lists
right.
if they go too close.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, so yeah. And so now, well, I'm going to go ahead and read this because I got another 2 or 3 minutes.
3.
So as of Tuesday the 6th, just this last Tuesday, Detectives still have no idea of the animal that clawed the 77-year-old retired teacher to death in a wooded area 6 months ago. On February 15th, she was found during her morning walk. Her and her dog would go out walking in the morning before she went and started her day. Did you see that lightning?
Yeah, I did.
Brenda she suffered catastrophic injuries to both arms, both legs, and her scalp, according to the sheriff's office. They quickly ruled out her own dogs. DNA evidence taken from the married mother's remains, which were found submerged in water, identified the animal which killed her as canine in nature.
Ooh.
Now, that covers a lot, but samples taken from 14 local dogs also ruled them out, with locals now terrified by the prospect of the mysterious creature striking again.
Dog man.
Dog man.
Sounds like a dog man to me.
So they're still not sure what the heck it was, because like I mentioned before, if it was a dog that was a domesticated dog, they would already found out what kind of breed it was, because they have DNA from all types of dogs. That's how the AKC decides, okay, well, it's got Schnauzer blood in it and it's a full breed because it's good DNA. They know. They could have ruled that out right away. No hesitating. They shouldn't have had to swab any dogs unless it said a specific breed that was living in that neighborhood. So
right.
I think it's just a bunch of
smoke screen.
Pahooey.
It's a smoke screen. That's a roaring thunders.
That one rolled right across our heads. So yeah, interesting. So 77-year-old teacher still not found what the issue is. So,
well, they haven't found what killed her. They found her, though. Oof.
Well, they found the issue. The issue is she died from being mauled, unfortunately.
She died from severe blood loss. Just kidding. Well, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing just because it's me joking with Don.
Well, yeah.
So
yes.
just to quantify that, but no, I think that's absolutely terrifying. That something. Now the problem is that they don't know what it is. But whatever it is had no problem attacking a person.
And nobody noticing.
Right. And able to get away. And it's still out there.
And hid
could
the
be,
body.
I wouldn't let my kids go outside to play. Screw that. It'd be like an indoor kind of year for me.
No doubt.
Yep.
But it hid the body in water.
Oh, it did. Yeah. There you go. Well, there's the bell, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get into more of this on the other side. Let us know your thoughts in the chats, if you would. All right. We'll be right back. Half hour number 2, ladies and gentlemen, now underway. You have entered the Paranormal Portal. And I hope you're enjoying the journey so far. I'm having a good time, so that counts for something, I think. But we just covered a story. Don covered a story about a 77-year-old woman was mauled and her body hidden in water, apparently. And they were able to process some canid DNA from her body, but are still uncertain what it was that killed her. So really creepy stuff. Really, really creepy stuff. I don't know. That terrifies me. Where was this? What location is this happened?
You know what? I closed the windows. Beth said she'll send us one of those rocks, though.
One?
Well,
I need 5. No, I'm just kidding.
And then they've each got to weigh 5 pounds apiece.
Yeah, exactly. I want one the size of my fist.
I want one from the moon. Let me see here. Reopen closed tabs. Okay. Yes. Okay. So
just I want to know what part of the country that's in, because that's really curious.
It's east. I'm sure of it. Let's see here. Oh gosh darn it! Would the thing just load and stop bouncing around?